Hello everybody, so in this video I'm going to be showing my Kinks CD collection. So, I'm a big fan of the Kinks, one of the greatest British bands from the 1960s, along with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and the Who. But compared to those three bands, the Kinks don't get talked about as much as the Beatles, the Stones, the Who. But such a great band, and I have about 10 CDs here. So I have 8 studio albums, 1 live album, 1 compilation. So we'll start off with this is their self-titled debut album. Such a great album, actually. Not their best, but it's still absolutely fantastic. It's got some really good bonus tracks on here as well, like singles that that were released at the time of the album but didn't make it onto the album. Not only that, but you also get all the B-sides as well, so just fantastic. And I like the designs on these CDs as well. They look like mini vinyl records. And on the back you get shows you what other ones are available, and you get the alternative. I think that's the American cover, because in America the album was actually called You Really Got Me, which the singles on this album, but yeah, that was its title in America. Yeah, great album. Next one, I have their second album, Kinda Kinks. Not quite as great as the first album, but still a great album nonetheless. And this also has a lot of bonus tracks, singles, B-sides. I'm not going to show the inside of all of them because they've all got pretty much the same design on them. Then we get the Kinks Kink Controversy, another great album. I think this is a step up from their first 2 albums. This also has bonus singles on it, B-sides. And I have Face to Face, really great albums, very nice psychedelic artwork on there. And this, of course, was their first album where they wrote all the songs, so there's no cover songs on here. And this, of course, is a deluxe edition with 2 discs. So the first disc, I think, is mono, and yeah, the first disc is mono, the second disc is the album in stereo. So, and there's loads of bonus stuff on here as well, singles, B-sides, and even I think some outtakes as well, some demos. Yeah, really good. It's a great album. Another fantastic album, Something Else by the Kinks. And you get some bonus tracks on here. Pretty much the same, B-sides, singles. And then probably their best album, Kinks Are the Village Green Preservation Society. Such a great album. This, I consider this to be their Sgt. Pepper. Such a great album. And the interesting fact about this album, it was released on the same day as the Beatles' White Album. So that's an interesting bit of trivia there. So yeah, it's got the 15-track mono album, and it's got the 12-track stereo album, because I think originally this album was only going to have, 12 tracks. I'm not sure. I think they originally released, there was a version with 12 tracks. But then eventually they decided to release a version with 15 tracks. But yeah, better with 15 tracks. The more the better. And then another great album. This one's Arthur, or The Decline of the British Empire. It's considered to be one of their best. It's not my favourite Kinks album. It's a great album, but it's not my absolute favourite. So yeah, this is a kind of a deluxe edition. The first disc is the you've got the original album and then some bonus A-sides and B-sides. Second disc is the Great Lost Dave Davis album, so it's a solo album, which I've not actually listened to yet. I'll have to give it a listen. And you get some bonus tracks on there as well. This one opens up like a book. Really nice. Some really nice pictures in there. There you go. And then you get the CDs are in there. So yeah, it's packaged very nicely. And we get probably another one of my favourite Kinks albums, and this is considered to be one of their best. Lola vs Powerman and the Money Go Round Part 1. And they never did make a Part 2 to this. But great album. This is a deluxe edition. So it's got the original album with a load of bonus tracks, you know, alternate versions and some demos. And you actually get 2 albums on here. It also comes with a second disc, which is the Percy soundtrack, which I've not seen the film, but yeah, the Kinks recorded the music for the film. It's okay. I mean, there's some good tracks on the album, but I think it's probably one of their weakest albums. But I think by this time the Kinks started to go downhill slightly. You get some bonus tracks there as well. So yeah, these are the only 2 Kinks 70s albums I've got. I might get some of the other 70s albums. I might get was it Preservation Act 1 and 2. I might get them. And Muswell Hillbillies I might consider getting. I mean, they had some good stuff in the 70s, but Percy wasn't one of their strongest. So that's the studio albums, and I have one live album. This is the BBC Sessions 1964 to 1977. 2 CD sets, really good. Sound quality on here is actually pretty surprisingly good. And then I have a compilation, Kinks Ultimate Collection, just a collection of their greatest hits. This was the first Kinks CD I got, so this was when I was just getting into them. And yeah, it's good if you're just a casual fan of the Kinks. This is a good CD to get. So yeah, I like the first disc is red, the second one is blue. It's like, the Beatles released the red and the blue albums, so it kind of reminds me of that. Although I think the Beatles actually started that concept of releasing like a 2-volume greatest hits. But yeah, great stuff on here. So yeah, that's my Kinks collection. Hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.